Viewers, we have more news coming in that External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has held talks with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio a day after the new American envoy sent to New Delhi hinted at the resumption of trade deal negotiations. Jaishankar took to social media platform X and he said, and I quote, "Just concluded a good conversation with Marco Rubio, discussed trade, critical minerals, nuclear cooperation, defense and energy, agreed to remain in touch on those and other issues." So we have CNN News 18's Akansha Swaroop joining us live right now. Akansha, good morning and thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. So this conversation is pretty historic, especially after the 500% tariff threat. So were any concrete agreements or timelines discussed during the Jaishankar-Rubio conversation? What information do we have so far?
Right. A very good morning to you and our viewers, Sukanya. And important to also highlight the timing of this phone call. It happened just a day after the U.S. ambassador to India, Sergio Gore, took over. And he had already hinted at this phone conversation to be taking place and that there is going to be forward movement in trade, which is exactly what this phone call has hoped to achieve, as both sides, whether it is the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio or India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar, both have highlighted on X that this conversation happened. In fact, Ambassador Sergio Gore also took to X and he's shared that it was a positive phone call. And overnight, we've seen that there was a readout shared by the U.S. The State Department has in fact put out a readout where they have spoken about how the Secretary congratulated India on enacting the sustainable nuclear energy. And there was, of course, a lot of focus on nuclear cooperation, expand opportunities for American companies, shared energy security goals, and secure critical mineral supply chains. So remember, as far as the threat of tariffs is concerned, India is looking to bridge the gap with the United States using energy security goals and nuclear cooperation, even say secure supply chains, something, and critical minerals were also discussed. And this is something that has already been indicated by the U.S. Ambassador Sergio Gore as well, when he spoke about how India will be joining Pax Silica, the U.S.-led initiative. So economic power is the new national power, according to the new Trump administration under Trump's presidency. It's looking towards, say, strengthening economic cooperation through trade, and that for them is closely linked with, say, strategic cooperation as well, which is why the readout by the State Department also ends by saying that they exchanged perspectives on regional developments, reaffirming the U.S.'s and India's commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. Because remember, there's a lot of growing concern about how Quad is dying a slow death. But this conversation, this telephonic conversation that's taken place, is reviving hope for the kind of strategic partnership that Washington and New Delhi also share. But it's been made amply clear that the way to that strategic cooperation is through economic cooperation.
Right, Akansha. Thank you so much for sharing that very